Hello students, welcome to my channel Ecotrix. This channel is entirely made for those who really fear economics and for those who don't know about economics but want to learn economics. Economics is a social science and it depends on logic. Once you understand the logic, the entire subject matter will be within your grip. So, I will try to make you understand the logic in a simpler way with some real life examples so that you enjoy learning economics. So, let's start learning. Today, this is just an introductory video. Here we will discuss what economics is all about and we will also discuss about its origin. We will learn about various definitions of economics given by different economists in different perspectives. So, in this video, we are going to discuss origin of the term economics, different definitions of economics, standard definition of economics, positive versus normative economics, and microeconomics versus macroeconomics. The term economics is derived from a Greek word oikonomia, and this word is derived from two Greek words. One is oikos and the other one is nemen. Oikos means house and nemen means to manage. Thus, economics means how to manage household with the limited amount of funds that are available. For example, suppose household income, we are assuming that household income is constant. Then within that limited fund, we have to spend money on food, we have to buy clothes, we have to pay our rent. At the same time, we have to save some amount of money for our future. So, this is how we manage our household with a limited amount of income. That is, we are assuming that the household income is not increasing, that is constant. Then what will happen? Within that limited fund, we have to manage the household. So, that is economics, basically, how to manage the household with the help of the limited fund that is available. Thus, economics means how to manage the household with the limited funds available. Here, next we are coming to different definitions of economics. So there are 4 definitions of economics put forward by different economists. First, wealth definition of economics. This definition of economics is proposed by Adam Smith, who is known as the father of economics. And according to Adam Smith, economics is a science of wealth. It is concerned with how the wealth of an economy can be increased. How the wealth of the economy can be increased. Okay, so he considered economic goods. He considered economic goods as wealth. So, according to him, in order to increase the wealth of a country, or in order to make a country richer, we have to increase the wealth of the country, and that means we have to increase the production of economic goods. So, according to Adam Smith, the subject matter of economics is to identify the factors that on which the volume of production depends, and also to suggest measures to increase the production. That means we have to increase the overall production. If we increase the overall production of the economy, then only wealth of the economy or wealth of the country can be increased. So the subject matter of economics is to identify the factors on which the volume of production depends. Okay, then Alfred Marshall, in his famous book Principles of Economics, says that economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. That means Adam Smith said that we have to increase the production, then only wealth of the country can be increased. But only increasing wealth or increasing the production of the economy will do welfare for the people. No. That means proper distribution is needed. One thing you should know in this matter, there are three major economic activities. 3 major economic activities. One is production, another is distribution, and the last one is consumption. Only production will not give you the welfare. Okay, so for the welfare of the people, welfare of the mankind in general, distribution is needed. Okay, so according to Alfred Marshall, the production we have to increase the production, and that production should reach each of the people of the country. Okay, so this is the way he explained economics. So economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life, according to Alfred Marshall. Next, scarcity. According to Robbins, in his book The Nature and Significance of Economic Science, says that resources are limited and wants are unlimited. So there should be a balance between the limited resources and unlimited wants of people. Okay, resources are limited and wants are unlimited. So there should be proper allocation of resources. Proper allocation of resources. According to Robbins, resources are limited and wants are unlimited. So there should be a proper allocation of resources, and according to him, there should be a balance between the limited resources and the unlimited ones. That means resources should be utilized in the most efficient way, to meet the unlimited wants of the people. Because resources are scarce, so a choice problem arises. And resources have alternative uses. Okay, next we are going to growth. According to Paul Samuelson, economics is a study of how societies use scarce resources to produce valuable commodities and distribute them among different people. So, in order to bring, we know that we study economy as the we study GDP growth. We study GDP growth as the economic growth. So, in order to bring growth of the economy, or in order to grow the economy, only production and production is not sufficient. We have to bring growth. So in that case, production as well as consumption, distribution, all these three major economic activities are very important, and at the same time, growth of the economy is possible if we follow these three. That means production, after that distribution, welfare of the people, then a balance between the limited resources and unlimited ones, that means proper allocation of resources, solving the choice problem, and then that means efficiently using the resources, and then only the growth of the economy is possible. Okay, so according to Paul Samuelson, it is how societies use those scarce resources and produce valuable commodities and distribute them among different people. So all these three definitions come under this definition. Okay. Next we are going to a standard definition. Economics is a social science which studies how individuals, firms, government and other organizations within a society make choices and how these choices determine society's use of resources. This can be called a standard definition of economics. Now let's understand this with the help of an example. Suppose Ram has come to Kolkata for higher studies. And has started living with his friends in a mess. When he was coming to Kolkata, his father gave him rupees 10,000 and said, "Spend this amount for your monthly expenses." Now, Ram has rupees 10,000 with him. Which can be called his pocket money. Out of this 10,000, he has to buy his clothes, he has to pay his rent, he has to buy his books, he has to buy his food. That means he has to meet his basic needs with the help of this money. Now, one day, his friends make a plan to go for a trip. But Ram can't contribute for the trip as he has a limited fund of money, and Ram needs to spend that amount wisely. So it is clear that going for a trip is not a basic need to Ram. It is a luxury to Ram. This is how Ram has to decide which one to satisfy first with the limited amount of money that he has been given by his father. Now you put individuals, firms, government and other organizations in place of Ram. So it is clear that due to the scarce resources of the economy, a choice problem arises, and to solve that choice problem, individuals, firms, government and other organizations have to identify which needs are basic needs and are important to satisfy first with the efficient utilization of the scarce resources. Positive versus normative economics. Statements about the world are of two types. One is positive and the other one is normative. Positive statements are descriptive and normative statements are prescriptive. Positive statements state how the world is and normative statements state what the world ought to be. Let's understand this with the help of an example. With the first example, we can see that the positive statement is tobacco is not good for health. Now this positive statement tells about the present, past and future situations. So it can be verified with the help of some examples, evidences and facts. So this is a descriptive statement. Next, the normative statement is government should reduce taxes on tobacco products. This statement is prescriptive, that is prescribed by some economists or policymakers. It is a prediction about future, hence it is not verifiable. It just involves value judgment. Since it is an opinion of some economists or policymakers, other economists may say that government should not reduce taxes on tobacco products. Many of them may criticize the policy and the action taken by the government. Thus, it may raise a debate among the policymakers. Okay. Next, we are coming to the next example, that is example 2. Say the positive statement is minimum wage laws cause unemployment. Now this positive statement states how the economy is working or how the economy works. So again it is descriptive in nature and explaining the present situation, hence it is verifiable and can be proved as true or false by means of some facts or evidences. The normative statement is, in example 2, the normative statement is government should raise minimum wages. Here the normative statement is a prediction about future. It is a policy that is desirable, that is a policy advisor's statement. Hence, it is prescriptive and may raise a debate among the policy advisors. Now, microeconomics versus macroeconomics. Micro means small and macro means large. The I alphabet of the word micro means individual and the A alphabet of the word macro means aggregate. That means microeconomics deals with individual units and macroeconomics deals with the whole economy. Let's see an example. Suppose a shoe market survey is conducted for getting the true picture of the demand and supply of the shoe market in the economy. For simplicity, let us suppose that there are only 3 shops in the shoe market and the survey is conducted in these shops across states like Bata, Khadims and Srileders. Now Bata is a brand name, likewise Khadims and Srileders are. When demand and supply of varieties of shoes are studied, particularly in Bata, then we are studying the demand and supply of shoes in a particular unit. And the same thing is done for Khadims and Sriledars. Now, whenever we are studying demand and supply of shoes in Bata, Khadims and Sriledars separately, it means we are dealing at the individual or micro or small level. That means we are concerned about an individual firm. Okay. And the summation of these individual demand and supply will give the aggregate demand and supply of the whole economy. Which means here the total demand and supply of various shoes in Bata, Khadims and Sriledars will give the aggregate demand and supply of the whole shoe market. Next, the objectives of microeconomics are utility maximization, profit maximization or cost minimization. Now, whether all consumers' utility have been maximized or not can be understood at the individual level or micro level. And the concept of the profit maximization or cost minimization depends on a particular firm's decision. So, all these are covered under microeconomics. We will come to these objectives when we will learn more about microeconomics. Now, when we will talk about employment level or the economic growth of a country, we are simply dealing with macroeconomics. Okay. Then the main problem of microeconomics is price determination. And the major problem of macroeconomics is income determination. Now, how price is determined and how income is determined will be discussed later. So, these are the major differences between microeconomics and macroeconomics. So, that's all for now. If you find the video useful, then please like the video and share it with your friends and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.